Hiya, it's Donna here from Blind and Knitting. I hope you're all well. I hope you celebrated the solstice. It's the 26th of June today, so we're past it a wee bit, but I hope you celebrated the solstice, the shortest day of the year. And also Matariki. We in New Zealand here have for the first time ever had an Indigenous holiday that's set for us called Matariki, and it is the Maori New Year holiday, and there's been some wonderful celebrations. And I know that my children laid a hangi, and if you're not from New Zealand, a hangi is it's like a fire pit that you cook your food in, and you put dirt all over the top of it, put sacks and dirt over the top of it, and you cook it, and your food steams. It's absolutely gorgeous. And so my family celebrated Matariki by cooking a hangi and teaching my grandchildren about that. Yeah, so welcome, Blind and Knitting. Donna, I think I said that. So this is episode 16. Welcome back if you're a returning viewer, and welcome if you are a new viewer. If you are keen on watching more of me, please subscribe below. Just click the subscribe button and it'll pop up, give you little alarms when it is. And yeah, so let's get started. I have 3 FOs and 3 whips and a purchase today, so we've got some stuff to show, which is great, and we'll get going. So, but what's been happening, I'll start with just what's been happening lately. So I talked about Matariki and solstice, which was lovely. We've had a long weekend. It's Sunday today, back to work tomorrow, and we don't get another long weekend until Labour weekend, which is in October, so we have to sort of tranche on a bit and get through it, but you know, that's okay. The other thing that happened is I'm a Rotarian, and we had our changeover. So once a year we change over and change president. So I'm now being the elected president. I had the chains of office passed over to me. So I've got 1 year as president of my Rotary Club. So I've got lots of exciting things going to happen then, and that'll be really an interesting year, and I'm sure I can fill you in along the way on what's been happening, what's new, what projects we've been doing. We're a small club, but we're a very active club in our community, and we do some wonderful things in our community. The other thing that's happened is we had our knit group. Why knit? Why for the Wairarapa, which is the region we live in. Why knit? And there was, how many of us? There was probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 8 of us, and we all got together and for a couple of hours and had knit and shared ideas and had a look at each other's projects, which was really nice, seeing what each other was knitting. It was a lovely afternoon. I really do enjoy that. So yeah, if my Why Knit ladies are watching today, and I know one of you is, because last time I wanted to cast something on, and because of my sight challenges I was having trouble, and thank you Sandy put her hand up. She's a friend of mine and in my Why Knit group, and she kindly cast on this, which I'll show you shortly, as one of my whips, and that was great. So it was through watching my podcast that she knew I was having trouble, so I really do appreciate that, Sandy. That was fun. I'll just check my note. Had a haircut. I thought I'd better zhoosh myself up for my Rotary changeover, and Kenzie got a groom. So I think when I took her, and you know when dogs get that real fluffy stuff on the back of their bums in the winter, and it's just fluff. And yeah, so I took her and got a groom. So that groomer earned their money, because she was full of fluff. But she's lovely and smooth and happy now, so we can carry on with one. She still molts and sheds everywhere, and everywhere I go she just drops, I call them magical fibres, but yeah, poor cleaners that follow me. I do the best I can, but she's just a natural molter. So I hope you've had a lovely time, and I look forward to sharing my whips and things with you. So let's get started. First, what am I wearing? So this is an FO. It's 95% an FO. So it is my Embers, which is a Libby Johnson pattern. It's in a wardrobe toolbox. It was the first time I've ever done colour work. I mucked the pattern up. So if you actually know the pattern quite well, you'll see I've made some mistakes. I've knit this in Skeins wool, which is a company up in Napier here. Skeins, and the colour was, I'll link it below, but a duck egg blue, I think. I have talked considerably about this in a past project. It's the first time I've ever steeked anything. I did procrastinate for a long time, finally steeked it, and I have put some petersham. I do need to sew the petersham down, hence the 95%. So I've sewn some petersham on for a facing, and I haven't sewn the buttons on yet, so and blocking it. So I just need to block it, and I love it. It's a big winter 100% pure wool cardigan. I'm quite proud of the first time I've ever done colour work. I know I marked the pattern up, but you would never know. And a first time ever steeking. So it was quite an experience. And yeah, I really like the colour. It should look really cool with jeans. And I've made it, I'll stand up so you can see, I've made it quite long so that it's a good length for winter. Oh, pillow. There's the pattern, the original pattern there. And it's not released yet. It's in her wardrobe toolbox, but I'm sure that'll get released at some stage soon, or at some stage. Anyway, really happy with it, especially the learning part of it, the steeking, etc. I just hope that the neck, remember I had the problem with my Bentley cardigan, and I've had to put shirring elastic in it. I hope this neck doesn't do the same thing, and if it does, I'll have to whip some shirring elastic in that just to make sure that it stays a nice shape so that it sits nicely. I do like that shape, actually. I like how that sits like that. I don't like things right up around my neck. I get so hot. It's a rustic wool, and I can certainly feel that I'm wearing a rustic wool. Can't say it's scratchy, but it's definitely rustic, and it's got a lovely stitch definition and a brilliant colour. So that's a Skeins, New Zealand wool Skeins. I should have bought, I've packed all of the stuff away because I've procrastinated so long about the steeking that all of the balls are packed, etc. So I have talked about it in previous podcasts. That's what I'm wearing. So that's FO number 1, except for the buttons and the stitching the petersham, the facings down. I went in and I said, do they still make the good old-fashioned petersham? I thought, I wonder if people actually know what petersham is, you know. And it's like a ribbon, but it's used as a, you can see, as a facing. So I've sewn that down there, and I'll just stitch it along just to make that a nice tidy edge for my cardi. My next FO was, again, I've packed all of the stuff away, but this doesn't need too much introduction. It's the ranunculus, and that's, I wore this, if you have a look on my, did I put it on Instagram? I think I may have put it on Instagram, but it's on my Facebook page. I wore this to my changeover, so it was lovely to be able to wear something to a nice do out. So it's really pretty. I've loved knitting this. This is the one where I knit a jersey, a cardigan, no, it was just a top some time ago, and I thought, holy hell, that wool was expensive. But when I finished it, I've got enough for 3. I don't know where I went wrong. Anyway, I like the wool and I never took it back. So I matched it, I knit it together, first time doing that. So I knit 2 together. You can see it's got a little, it's a mofo, so it's not actually mohair, it's a fake acrylic mohair, but the wool was 100% merino, and I've used the fake mohair, and I really enjoyed doing the ranunculus. It was so quick. I can see why people make them, plenty, and I can certainly see why I would get another one. I marked the pattern up though. This is the eyesight thing, but same as this, nobody knows, you know. Can you really tell that I've marked that lace pattern up? Unless you actually stood there and really inspected it and knew the pattern really well, you're not going to know. But it's lovely to wear, it's soft, and I don't like cropped, so I've made it longer. I have some photos on my Instagram, or I'll put some photos on my Instagram. I might even put one up here. if you behave yourself. And yeah, you can have a look at it. So I did a short sleeve, so it was really nice to wear out. It falls beautifully, although it's reasonable. I do like, I know people don't like pulling, but see how that's pulled and it's got this purple sort of spiral around it. I like how it's done that. So yeah, it's pulled. But ranunculus done, super easy, highly recommend it. I can see why people make it. I will certainly be making more of all sorts, you know, short sleeve, long sleeve, holding two together, everything like that. I will link the ranunculus pattern down in the description notes, but again, I don't think it needs a great deal of introduction because it's a super well-known pattern. Just have another drink. It is the middle of winter, and as I said, we had solstice, the shortest day, but it is a stunning day today. It's just gorgeous, which is nice light for this. I've been out in the veggie garden this morning, sort of wintering down my veggie garden, and just my partner's putting some fencing around it so that the stock can't get at it. And yeah, so I've been pottering around in the veggie garden this morning, which was really nice just to get out some fresh air and some sun. And Kenzie was following around. I actually don't know where Kenzie is now. She's floating around somewhere, probably asleep. She does a lot of that. So my next FO, my third FO, is a shawl. Now, I talked about months ago, I went on a workshop, and it was a wool dyeing workshop, and Sandy from Wynit came as well, and we learnt some techniques on how to dye wool. And so we used 100% merino wool, and we learnt how to do speckled, semi you know, I looked up and I thought, yeah, I had that name just right for my podcast, and it's gone again. And full wool. And so these were the three dyes that I did. That's the speckles. That is the semi-blocked one, and that is the full solid one. It's a lovely wee shawl, scarf. I wear a lot of scarves. I wear them all the time. So really happy with it. It's super soft, but it's 100% merino, so it's lovely and warm. The pattern is called Embrace. That's it there. It's a really basic pattern. It's just done in stocking stitch. It was so quick, so easy. I decided to stick to the exact pattern. No, I did change one thing. The middle column, the middle pattern row changed to a pattern, and I changed the pattern to just garter stitch because, and I said this last time, I really wanted to see how the fabrics played together so that I know what they look like for, because I want to get into some more dyeing. I really enjoyed doing this dyeing. I dyed the wool. The woman that took the course was, she has a business, an indie dyer called Squishy McDo. So if you go on Facebook, you can see Squishy McDo's stuff. And it was a brilliant workshop. And I love this. Really happy with it. And quite proud that I dyed it all myself, which is really nice. This has been blocked. I haven't worn it yet because I thought I would bring it to you, but I'm really happy with the three colours and how they play together. So the dark red, and then I did use the dark red and a purple and a pink, and in that one I did the dark red, the purple and the pink speckled. So that pattern, Embrace, is by Meg Gadsby. It's a pay-for pattern, so I won't show you any details. I don't think it was expensive, on Ravelry, and I highly recommend it. If you want TV knit, and especially after I sort of had this colour work and steeking, I really wanted a TV knit that I could just sit and not think, just garter stitch. So I definitely will make more of those, I think, in different colours, because it's a good shape, it's a good size, it's really lovely, and really happy to have made that one. So that's my 3 FOs. So the embrace, the ranunculus, and the my dog, sorry, Kenzie's just walking in, and my embers. 3 finished objects. Not bad, although this took, I think it took 11 weeks or 12 weeks. I did write it down, about 12 weeks, but most of that was spent procrastinating on how to do this. The shawl probably took me a couple of weeks. That was super easy. And the ranunculus, I think, was 3 weeks, because that was super quick and easy too. So a couple of nice. What I'm finding though is my knitting is getting into a not so great rhythm, in that I have all my cast-ons at the same time. I used to be able to, like, I would have them scattered. I'd have a cast on, one half done, one nearly finished, and so, you know, they went round in a cycle. But for some reason I've got into finishing them all at once. 3 now, and it's quite nice to have three FOs in a row and go, oh, that's really cool. But yeah, I'll have to change that somehow. I'm sure it'll get back into another rhythm as I do things that are a little complicated and a little easy. And I've got some really exciting things on the needle, which I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, I've been watching a lot of podcasts. It's been, you know, pretty crappy weather, although I say today's been stunning. But it, you know, my life becomes a matinee in the winter because of my eyesight. I just cannot see at night time and in the morning. As soon as it starts getting dark, and just starts getting dark, my sight is just gone. So my life is a matinee in the winter. It's just, you know, this time of the day, which is midday, is when I can do most of my functioning. And yeah, so I've been watching a lot of podcasts. I tried to get into another book. I have talked about this before. I just fell in love with the series The Outlander, and I listened audiobooks. I listened to every book of every series, and I just fell in love with it. When it's finished, it's like, oh, what do I do now? There's like this gap missing, and where's Jamie and menopause, words come out of my mouth. Anyway, where are they when I need them? But so I've tried to get into another book to sort of, you know, get rid of that one. I just can't do it. So I've been doing podcasts. I was thinking about podcasts the other day because, you know, because I do this one, I was thinking about the cadence and the speed and how should you present things. And I thought, I'm worrying too much about it. Just be myself. Because when I watch podcasts, some of them, you know, are really slow and cruisy, and some of them are kind of quite full and in your face, and some of them are, you know, really upbeat and giggly, and some of them are a bit more serious. They're all so different, and I just watch what mood I'm in. So, and I've said this, you're going to get what you're going to get with me. I'm not going to practice. I'm not going to find some sort of set cadence and order. It's just as it comes. But I hope you enjoy it. You know, I hope you've got your cup of coffee. I'm on the water. I thought I might do dry July, actually. I've been avoiding alcohol and cutting my food down just for health. I'm trying to increase my water intake because I'm not very good in the winter with drinking water. I should get back into my green teas. That's what I do like. So trying to be on a little bit of a health kick, you know, as well as we do. Malariki, New Year, more, yeah, more just trying new things, different things. I'm not going to say setting new goals because goals are no good for me. Right, what's next? Well, what I've got on my needle. So I'll start with this one. This is, I'm knitting, it's called, and forgive me because it's probably not English, but it's Halakala, and I'm going to have to put the lovely lady, the designer's name on it, because I'm not even going to attempt for fear of insulting. And this is a vest So it's a lovely vest, and it's got a lace or a panel, sort of a fake cabley panel up the front. I don't know if it's, I'm not sure if that's very clear, but it's a DK. So I bought these ages ago. I'm trying to use my stash and save some money. I bought this a long time ago from Uncle Bill's, and it was cheap as chips. I think it was $3 or $5, might have been $4 or $5. It was really cheap, but in comparison for wool. It's 100% wool, so it's quite rustic. It's called pure wool, and its colour is lavender, and it's a 3-ply rustic pure wool, New Zealand wool. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, you can have a look out the window while you're there and see the beautiful day. Anyway, wasn't so great, was it? Yeah, so that's what I'm doing it in, and I've got this lovely lilac. So, right, where am I? I don't want to lose. Oh, I haven't got them because I was knitting on this morning, so I hadn't got my thingy bobs. So it starts bottom up, and it does some knit, and it's got the curl hem, but it's the other way around, so you get the knitted knobbly bit on the outside instead of the curl, which you would normally get on most patterns. So that's kind of different, which I quite like, if you can see that. It is very rustic wool, and I have the 2 side panels. I just can't work out whether you can see that or not. It's not very clear, but 2 side panels, so it has 2 quite big size panels. It's just sleeveless with a round neck, and just nice and simple, 8-ply. Yeah, nice easy knit. Lots of plain, lots of stocking stitch, and then you get to that pattern, which is pretty simple. You don't need a cable knit or anything. You just twist, knit. So it's a stitch I've never done before, so again, it's new learning. So you knit, you've got 2 stitches together while you're knitting along. Instead of knitting that one, you knit into that one, and then you come in without taking it off the needle, and then you come back and knit into the back of that one, and then you slide them both off together. So it twists the stitch. Yeah, so that's, yeah, quite cool. I'm enjoying that. It is quite a rustic wool, although I think because I've been knitting with such beautiful soft wool of recent, it's probably not as rustic as I think it is, but because it's going to be a tank top, it'll be worn. I plan to wear this with like a nice white crisp shirt with the, you know how the back hangs down underneath, sort of layer it, or I think I've got a blue, pale blue stripe one that don't know what that'll look like with lilac. No, that might not go, but yeah, just a nice crisp shirt for winter. Again, because they get so hot, sleeveless is ideal, and it's a nice quick knit. Well, I hope it's a nice quick knit. So far it's been going well, but my hands, I've got quite sore hands from it yesterday because I'm so used to, I've got soft hands because I'm so used to knitting with beautiful soft wool, that this was, yeah, quite, but that's good. It's all good. You've got to knit with all sorts of different ones, don't you? You can't knit with the same wool all the time. So that's cast on number 1. Cast on number 2 is, and this is the one that Sandy helped me with, and this is the most beautiful wool. It's which I've knitted with before. I made my Acacia, which is the one that I pulled the back of with my bra hook, and yes, I fixed that. Thankfully it didn't make a hole. I just had to sort of jiggle the stitches back into place. So this is the one that Sandy helped me cast on, because for the life of me I could not see to cast it on. It's a beautiful colour. It's it's Milo. It just reminds me of a cup of Milo. It's nice brown, but it's not a dark brown. It's kind of a, yeah, just reminds me of Milo. So I've done the neck, the ribbing, I've done the short rows at the back, and I'm ready to do the colour work. So what I'm knitting is a Caitlin Hunter pattern called Birkin. That's it there. It's paid for pattern on Ravelry. and it's got a lovely yoke. I'm going to do another colour work, and this is full ply. This wool is Māori by Happy Go Knitty, which is another New Zealand indie dyer, and it is merino. Oh gosh, I think it is a cashmere yak. I'm sorry, I have put it on in the past and talked about it in the past, and I will link Helene Māori onto my page. When I did my workshop, my dyeing my wool workshop, she had some, so the lady from Squishy McDo had some extras for sale, and I brought a hank, as you do, of this one. And so this is I'm going to do the flowers. I've looked through over 2,500 projects of this knitted on Ravelry. So I've been through and read people's notes. Some of them, most of them had issues with fit. So I'm going to be really careful of that as I'm knitting, because I don't want that. But 99% of them said they were happy with it when they'd finished. They just made some modifications on it. So I'm just going to do the flowers all one colour, which often a lot are doing, and I'm going to do the flowers in this colour. So I think that's going to look really gorgeous. I'm looking forward to it. So I should have my second colour work. I should have some colour work to show you in the next podcast, hopefully. It is one of those ones that I do need really good light. So it's not a nighttime knit when I get home from work and I'm tired. I can do my vest for that. But for this one, it's definitely one of those I need to really concentrate. And quite like on a Saturday or a Sunday morning to get up when the light's coming into our lounge nicely and have a cup of tea and do some knitting for an hour or so in the lounge. So I think that'll be what that'll be. It'll be one of those ones that I can go in Saturday, Sunday morning and just do some quiet knitting in the lounge where the light is good and I'm clear-headed and can think clearly. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. I've had it, as I say, 2,000 projects on Ravelry, and I've looked through most of them, and some of them are stunning. And I do like the ones that are with all the flowers and leaves all the same colour. I really like the look of that. Some of them have done some pretty out there colours, like hot pinks and fluoro greens and things like that. Poplar, I wondered what it was. But yeah, that's not me. That's just not me. So yeah, so that's my whip number 2. My third whip. Now, because I had enjoyed doing my scarf, my Embrace scarf so much with just stocking stitch and just stocking stitch without thought, I had decided to do something that so many people do. I mean, it's like the ranunculus. It's one of those ones that everybody tends to do. So I thought, why follow suit? I can buck the trend occasionally, but follow suit occasionally too. Now, some time ago, I saw on Facebook a little sale, and this person was selling these beautiful merino mohair 3-ply balls at Skeins for I can't remember, something like $5 each. And I mean, they're just gorgeous. They're a home natural wool, beautiful merino mohair 3-ply, just lovely. And I brought 3 balls of each, 3 balls that size. They say they're 100 grams. I haven't weighed them, which is a bit of a worry because I can't read my scales. And I went to go and find some scales, some talking scales. They were $180, and I thought, I'm not paying $180 for a pair of scales that talk for the baking that I don't do a great deal of baking anymore. If there's only the 2 of us home, God, you'd never get us out of the house. We'd have to, the only way we'd go is through Weight Watchers. So I don't do a lot of baking. So I'm hoping they were genuinely 100 grams, because what I've cast on takes 300 gram balls of each colour. So what I have cast on is, and I don't have a picture of it because it's a website is the half and half wrap. So if you've heard of the half and half wrap, it is a great big huge triangle, a square, and half of it is one colour and half of it is the other colour, and it's a great big shawl. So I have decided to cast one on because it is stocking stitch, 260 stitches. Oh, that wool is just, it's just so beautiful. It's just going to be lovely. I am worried that these aren't 100 grams skeins, and I'm not sure what to do if I discover that I can't finish a triangle. I guess I'll just face that one when I get to it. I might be able to find some 3-ply somewhere if I go on Ravelry or pop into one of my wool shops in town and see, or a contrasting colour like I don't know, maybe a pale pink or a chocolate brown, and do some stripes. But I think when I get halfway through I'll have more idea. So it's a bit of, you know, it's 260 stitches. They're a monster of a thing, but and I'm not in any hurry. It's just one of those things that I can pick up at night time. It is stocking stitch all the way. All you do is some wrap and turns at one edge. So you wrap and turn, so it goes into a triangle shape, and then when you've finished doing that, you add your second colour. Yeah, sorry I don't have a picture, but I will link the pattern down here. It's a free pattern. It's by Pearl Soho. So if you Google Pearl Soho or just purely half and half wrap, you will find it. So that's going to be my brainless knitting for when I just need to do something where I don't have to think. And it's super light, so I can, you know, I could take that anywhere with me just to do. I actually, speaking of that, because when I watch all these podcasts, all these people are like, they take their knitting to the movies and they take their knitting in the car when they're driving. And I thought, because I live rurally and I don't drive, obviously, I get the taxi into town to work, and my sister-in-law takes me the other time, so it's a bit of both. There's a company in New Zealand that helps people with disabilities so that I can keep working, and so part of that is to help me to get to work. And I figured, well, it's 20 minutes each way. That's 40 minutes. It's 40 minutes good knitting time, basically. So I took a pair of socks in my taxi the other day, and I was knitting away, and I got quite a few done, and I felt quite good about it. But I felt like a dick. I just felt like such a silly Billy. I don't know. I mean, I'll persevere. And the taxi driver was fine. It's not like I was doing anything wrong, but I just felt silly knitting. And isn't that weird? I'm so used to just knitting in front of TV and not thinking of it as a mobile thing. The irony is, I don't think I could do it at the movies, but I mean, but I'm blind and I knit mostly, apart from the little bit of sight tiny bit of sight I've got, I knit by intuition, but I do, you know, still look at it with the little bit of sight I've got every now and then. So I don't know if I'd do the movies, but certainly in the car. So 40 minutes a day, they're in and out, and I go into town 4 to 5 times a week. That's a bit of knitting. And I started a pair of socks, which are at work, because I've left them at work, you know. So I can't even do them tomorrow, getting the taxi, but I might be able to do my half and half wrap, actually, because that's just straight knitting. But I did feel silly. We'll see how we go with that one. So that is my 3 whips. It is my half and half wrap by Pearl Soho, and I will put all this in the description notes. My Birkin by Caitlin Hunter, which is the one with the floral yoke, and my Halakaha, and forgive me, I just don't want to mispronounce the lady's name, so I will put those in the notes. And that is my vest with the panels up the side. So I'm quite looking forward to those. I think they'll look pretty cool. That'll keep me going over the real winter months. Of course, typical knitter. I've got things in my queue, things I'm thinking about. I've got some Aran wool I bought quite a few years ago now, probably 5 or 6 years ago, and it's a natural cream Aran, and I started knitting a long cable jersey for myself, and it had a hood. And in the end, I didn't like the cable. I didn't like the idea of the hood, so I frogged it. So I've got enough and quite a bit of wool, because you need quite a bit for a hood. So I've got quite a bit of lovely 10-ply cream Aran wool. So I think that might be my next project when I've got through one of these. I don't know what I'm going to knit. Feeling cardigan, because I like layers. Cardis are so good to off and on. Although I really love, what is it? Oh gosh, I'm terrible with names. Steinberg. Kate, no, I'm sorry. I'll talk about that in the next podcast. Oh. Anyway, and I made a purchase which I'd forgotten about. I made it weeks and weeks ago, and completely forgot about it. So when I brought my neck headlamp things, which I still use, I have broken my lamp, and I'm really missing that. I do need another good quality lamp above me. This is really good for writing at the needle, but just overall I still need better lighting. And I tried moving my lamp around and I broke it, so I'll have to replace that. I will keep an eye out for something. If I'm going to buy one, it's going to have to be a really good one for my site, so I will not rush in and buy anything until I've sussed a few out. So I broke that, but so anyway, where was I going with that? So yes, when I brought my neck lamp, I got a $10 voucher for Mighty Ape, which is a New Zealand, it's like eBay type thing, but it's a New Zealand company. So I thought, oh, spend that. So I really wanted the 52 Weeks of Shawls book, because I love shawls, and I couldn't buy one in the Mighty Ape thing. So I bought, down here, the 52 Weeks of Socks. Now, I'm not a sock knitter, and I can't read because of my sight, but it's a beautiful book, and of course it was $10 off, and it was a lot cheaper because it's been out a lot longer, I suppose, than the 52 Weeks of Shawls, which I would still love, and I will take some money away and save up and get that one, because I really do want that one. What I'm hoping is I will get someone, like my daughter or someone, to have a look with my partner to see if I can, now that I've bought this, if it comes digitally, so that I can get the patterns digitally, because I can't read the patterns. But I bought it more for motivation. I mean, you know, there's some, because I kind of think, oh, what is the buzz with all this sock thing? I mean, I've knit homemade socks, and I love them. I love wearing them. Yeah, so I thought, well, this might motivate me to make some socks. So there's some beautiful patterns. Oops. Yeah, gorgeous patterns. There's lace ones, there's cable ones, there's vanilla ones, there's even ones with colour work on. So I like that. It's a coffee table book. The pictures will motivate me, but I do hope, I'm hoping, hope I can get, now that I've bought the book, I can get them digitally. I'll look at that. I'll let you know if I can, because that could be useful for others as well. But otherwise, I was well aware that I wouldn't be able to read it. So more for motivation and coffee table. So that was my purchase, but it's not the one I wanted. I wanted the 52 Weeks of Shawls, and I will get that because I am a shawl knitter. Love shawls. I've always worn scarves and shawls all my life. However, I've just discovered the passion, the pleasure of knitting them. I've got some knit ones, but bought ones. And I've said this, I think right back in series 1 or 2, episode 1 or 2, I had quite a period where I stopped knitting. I lost my mojo. I lost my confidence in my mojo. More my confidence when I started losing my eyesight seriously. I mean, I've been gradually losing my eyesight all my life, but about 10 years ago, it started getting a bit serious when it started really changing my way I lived my life. So I did lose my mojo, and so there was about 5 years when I really didn't do a great deal of knitting. I do remember I made a couple of jerseys. I made a black turtleneck jersey, but the wool was too scratchy. But I didn't know about blocking then, and I do wonder whether blocking might have softened it. Gave it away. I made a lovely, which I really loved, tencel. It was a rib, just a jersey to wear over jeans, and I really loved that. Stretched, just stretched, huge tencel. So now knowing what tensel's like to knit, I would have knit it quite firm on much smaller needles. Looked great when I wore it once, twice, washed it, looked terrible. So that was given away as well. Op shop it went. But apart from that, I can't remember really knitting anything. I did lose my confidence because I thought, well, I'm losing my sight, I'll never be able to knit again. And then I actually don't even know what made me pick the needles up, but I picked my needles up and I knit one absolutely plain basic V-neck, with good old-fashioned patterns, old-fashioned. I know what it was. My mother-in-law lived with us, God bless her, and she was a avid knitter. She never had knitting needles out of her hand, and I think I used to sit beside her and think, oh, I really should do that. And so I think that's what really got me going again, and got me back into it, because I used to knit and sew everything, and then I had this huge patch. So I'm really enjoying getting back into it. Yeah, I really am enjoying going back into it. I did sew the Petersham on here, and I do struggle with sewing. The needle worries me with my sight. I'm lucky that I've sewn all my life, so I do most of it by intuition. My sewing machine has a needle threader, so I can thread the needle without too much bother. And I just stick to simple stuff now. I don't do anything tailored or anything. I'm not sure if I even have said that my first career was selling banana sewing machines. Well, it wasn't my first career. My first job was when I was 12, and I was an intermediate, and I got a job after school on Friday nights. We had late night shopping when I was young, and it was in a fabric shop selling curtaining. And so I used to work there. I worked there for about 6 years after school on Friday nights, selling furniture and fabric, and I used to make all my clothes out of the curtain fabrics. So yeah, that was great. But then when I left school, and my first real big job was at Benina, and it was selling Benina sewing machines. So I did a lot of sewing, a lot of crafts for the shop, and selling the sewing machines, and I was there for 7 or 8 years. That was, yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about sewing machines. I learned a lot about more crafts, and haberdashery. I loved haberdashery. I've still got containers full of buttons and things. Talking about buttons, I bought buttons for this, which I haven't sewn on yet, just plain buttons the same colour. $8 for 10 was it? Yes, it was 10 buttons. Oh my gosh, I can remember selling buttons for 7 cents each. I'm pleased that op shops cut buttons off old stuff and resell the buttons and things, so you can get op shop buttons now. So but you can, I can kind of see I'm rambling now, but hey ho, I finished showing you all my bits. I might as well have a chat. Got your coffee, got your knitting. I can see why people struggle to do crafts. I mean, this Petersham, I can't remember how much it was, but it was a cost, and then you've got your wool on top of that, and your pattern if you don't get a free one. There are a lot of free patterns out there, which is great. I really think that's great. But yeah, it's quite an expensive hobby, craft, but but also it clothes you, which, you know, as a bonus. I don't have a family that I knit much for. You know, I make hats for them, and I think I'll get into making socks for them, and the odd jersey for my grandkids. But they get hot. They just don't want woolens like they used to. Yeah, it's expensive, and as I've said in the past, I put a little bit of my pay away every week, and then I just buy something, you know, once every 6 weeks or so, and treat myself to something, because for my mental health, I really need knitting and crafts. It's something that really is restorative for my mental health. And, you know, so if that's one thing you want to take out of it's an investment into my mental health and also into my wardrobe, because you get to wear clothes, and clothes for years, as long as you don't gain weight, because I've got some lovely pieces that I've made in my wardrobe. I should show you a couple of them. There's one that I'm super proud of that I made 30 odd years ago, a beautiful mohair, because see, these will last for years. Yeah, but it doesn't fit me anymore. Hey ho, so let me have a look at my notes, make sure I haven't missed anything. No, I haven't. So I guess I'll wind it up. It's been lovely chatting. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have knit several rows and enjoyed a hot drink or a cold drink while I've been chatting. And yeah, so bye for now, and we'll catch you in the next one.